Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Hyde Park Ninjas. And today we're going to be talking about ways to maximize your martial arts training. So, Keo, how you doing this morning?
Doing fantastic. Good to see Dopus Crew and Maui in the house this morning, hanging out,
Good morning, guys.
talking talking some martial arts, and yeah, man, busy, crazy day yesterday. I'm still waking up, trying to get ready from yesterday. So, how are you
Yeah,
feeling?
uh, yeah, about the same. Yeah, we had a busy day at the academy, and as you know, we had a really busy night with our team, getting everything ready for the Hyde Park Ninjas. So, all the experiences we have going. All right.
Sweet.
All right, so let's get right into it. We got so kind of maximizing your martial arts training, and we kind of speak from two different age brackets, I know, so there could be things that are different. And usually, when we get on here, just so you guys know, we don't pre-script anything. We just get on here and just kind of tell it like it is, really. Just speaking from experience, and we live this stuff day in and day out. So things that we feel like will help maximize training for a variety of different students, and whether it's kids, adults. Um, it's just sometimes it can be slightly different, but I think one of the biggest things that sticks out to me is just having a schedule. And if you're going to be training, figure out what your work schedule is, so you have that work life balance with the family, and figure out which 2 days or 3 days a week work for you, and fit it into your schedule, like on your calendar. And that's a great way to stay consistent with your training. If you're just waking up and saying, okay, I feel like training today, and you're going, that's not a good thing, because what happens if tomorrow you don't want to go, and then the next day you don't want to go? You kind of fall off track. So if you're really wanting to maximize your martial arts training, and you're serious about it and getting better and meeting and achieving goals, I think setting a schedule of when you're going to go to classes is huge.
I 1000% agree. It's actually one of the first things that popped into my head. And sorry if my dog's barking. Can you hear that?
No, mine just got done going crazy.
Okay, my wife's out of town, and I'm handling all the animals by myself, and um, so anyway, I don't know when he'll stop barking, but if it's too much, just tell me. I'll let you talk. But
Okay.
um, so that's the first thing that popped into my head. I actually have a student that's actually stopping this week, and the whole reason is just because they've been really inconsistent with their training, and it's more frustrating for them than it is beneficial, because you show up one week, like one class for one week, then you miss the next week, and then maybe you get two classes in the week after, and then you miss a week. It's just you can't keep up with your training. You're not getting better. Um, it's like constantly. Okay, you missed the gym for a month or two, right? That first day back is awful,
Yeah.
right? And then you're so sore, so sorry, you don't want to and so it's like doing that over and over and over again with your martial arts training. It's you miss a week or two, you come back and take a class, you don't feel great. You
Hmm.
haven't been training, um, you don't retain the information that you have been learning, um, and then it's just a cycle on repeat. So the consistency is so huge, and learning to push through. I try to teach the kids this, and the parents. Now, don't get me wrong. There are days where you have to rest. There are days that you are sick. There are days that it just doesn't make sense to train. However, I would make the case that most of the time, not all the time, most of the time, it's still good for you to get out there and train. Obviously, that and if you have any health conditions, take those into consideration. But um, yeah, that so learning to push through. Oh, I'm tired today. I want to play my video games today. I want to go out for a few drinks with the friends, tonight. Go train that hour first, and then go. Right, or at least just go train that hour first, and then go play some video games, or whatever it is that you want to do. So um, that is one of the biggest reasons I see people quit, is because of the consistency. So if you're going to look into getting into martial arts, I think make sure you carve out those. We always recommend twice a week. Um, ca- Carve it out of your schedule, whether it's for your kids or for yourself. Um, Carve it out, because it's so healthy. And then last point, and then we'll move on. But even if it's not martial arts, even if it's the gym, even if it's tennis, even if whatever it is, and you're looking to do something healthy for yourself, carve out that time, that these are the days I take care of myself, right? I'm doing something healthy for me mentally and physically, and um, our passion just happens to be martial arts, and um, so, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I 100% agree. It is when you miss a couple classes, and it's true for adults and for children. I see it a lot in children. If a parent is inconsistent, with bringing their children to martial arts classes, that child starts to fall behind, doesn't feel as good as, his fellow students in class. And then, you miss too many classes. Now you've missed like a rank testing or something, and you really fall behind.
Yep.
And, the kids, children can actually get embarrassed by that a little bit, where they start falling behind their peers. And, that's a big thing. I think, especially in today's culture, it's even worse because everybody is so like competitive. It's like what do they call it? The keeping up with the Joneses, right? And,
Yep.
um, and then that's where you get people where they're running to like fast track and stuff. And unfortunately, there are schools that do that. They allow fast tracking and stuff. And I think for martial arts, I think it's like one of the worst things ever to do that. And I've seen schools do that. I've seen schools go out of business doing that. And it's just not good practices because if you're allowing to fast track your students, you're probably taking shortcuts yourself in your training because your standards are low, just in my opinion. But consistency is key. It really is. Just work out and train on a consistent basis, and you'll stay up to speed, and you're still gonna see yourself improving, and that's a huge thing for your confidence for all of us. If I don't see myself improving in my martial arts training, my confidence takes a little bit of a dip, and you have I saw it a lot after doing a surgery, being out a little bit and you come back and it's like, oh man, what happened? You just kind of fell apart. So stay consistent and do what you can do, even if you've got times where maybe you're not feeling the best or, maybe, you have an injury, do some kind of exercise or drilling that kind of goes along with the martial art that you train and you can still keep the muscle memory, keep your body moving, and it's going to pay off and you'll feel a lot better. um, I think I think that's when I saw it the most was when I had my surgery, that you could still do some exercises to keep yourself fit in different ways until you can get back to your active training, that you're used to basically.
It's a lifestyle that you adopt of doing what you can, right? I think that. Thanks, Brian's block. Upland helper jumping in.
Oh,
Good to
Ryan, good
see
to
you.
see you.
Um, it's I seem to. I was just talking to a parent the other day, and they were sitting and watching class, and they're in their 40s or so, and man, I look, you get kids, you get busy schedules, busy lives, and I get it, but you gotta keep the mindset of I'm gonna do what I can, and even if it's I remember in my wasn't that long ago, but my heavy competition years, some days I would just get little 10 or 15-minute workouts in, like hardcore. I mean, you can burn out a muscle group in 10 minutes. It might not be the best workout ever or whatever, but man, I've only got 10 minutes. Let me squeeze something in real fast. Um,
It's better than
and
nothing.
and it's better than nothing. And it just goes from that. Well, I've got 10 minutes. Uh, you know, never mind. I'm not gonna even do it. Right. And so the parent I was talking to was, man, I never thought I'd be the parent that was just sitting and watching always, and here I am. I don't do anything, and I felt really bad for him. And and it's just a mindset shift from I'm too tired, I'm too old, I'm this injury, that injury, to uh you know what? Let me do what I can. And I got a gentleman in class right now. He's in his 60s. He's got some injuries. The dude is just a trooper, man. He just, and there's a lot of things he can't do. And you know what? He's okay with that. And I think I love that mindset of, I can't do this or that, and I'm just gonna do what I can. And he's lost like 60 pounds in the last year. Um, it just a great story, and but it just comes from that mindset of I'm going to do what I can.
Yeah, it's better than the alternative of not doing anything because you start sitting on the couch, not doing anything. Your joints get all messed up, and it's just it's a downward spiral usually. So
I look at it like, okay, well, when I'm not active, let's say I'm vacation. If I go on vacation, which I can do nothing for about 2 to 3 days, especially rest the body and stuff. After that third day, I'm itching. I gotta go do something. So, but let's say it, and it's happened. 7, 10 days, maybe 2 weeks of not being active. My joints hurt anyway, right? Uh, y- I feel sluggish, mentally and physically. My body doesn't feel great because this morning we trained pretty hard yesterday, and yeah, I'm sore today for sure. We trained really hard. Um, I'm gonna be so if I work out, I'm gonna be sore. If I don't work out, I'm gonna be sore. So it's like you
Yeah.
might as well do something that's healthy, uh, and it helps you with your longevity and quality of life, and keeps you active and on your toes. So uh, yeah, that's the way I look at it. I'm gonna be
Yeah,
sore
and
either way. So
you always feel better after you train, because I've had days, I can't remember how many days, that I've had that I didn't want to really train that day. I was tired or my allergies were horrible, whatever it was. And you go in and you train and you always come out feeling a little bit better when you came in, no matter what, unless, it's an injury or something like that,
right.
which those are far and few between if you're training the right way anyways. But you always feel better, and just the benefits it gives to your cardiovascular system and everything. It's kind of like, I don't want to say the fountain of youth. Sometimes it doesn't always feel like that, but it does. It helps our body to stay healthy and our heart to stay healthy too. So you see so many people not doing that nowadays, and overindulging in different things, whether it be food, alcohol, different things. And I think keeping a consistent diet too is another really good tip. Trying to eat fairly healthy, and we all like to eat things that probably not the best for us all the time, but do everything in moderation. I think when you overindulge in anything, it's never good. So
Yep.
just try to have a consistent diet. 'Cause this is the biggest thing I see. I see this in my neighborhood all the time, or just on like social media. Y- People go on like these fad diets, and they do great, man. They lose 30, 40, 50 pounds, and then you see them in 3 months, and they're like right back where they started. And that up and down fluctuation like that is just not good for your joints. It's not good for your body in general.
Yeah.
Um, and if you're, some people go to the extreme of like starving themselves, and that's not good for the stomach. You're shrinking your stomach, so it's definitely not good. And I think you talked about that a little bit. It was a little while back. We were talking about like when you're training and cutting weight, and are used to not eating as much, and then you fill that stomach with food.
Oh yeah. Oh,
And
that was the episode. I think we talked about throwing up and stuff.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
yeah. It's
we
funny.
got totally derailed on that stream, by the
Yeah,
way.
yeah, it was it was fun though. Um, yeah, the diet and man, I'll be honest, the diet is one of the harder ones for me. I really try to adopt the just moderation, because man, I after train and we're on our feet all day long. Our job is very active, so man, some pizza or wings after a long day of work just I like it.
Yeah,
You know, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not perfect. I love that and a nice cold beer, and I just got to make sure that that's one night a week,
yeah,
and maybe two or maybe on the weekends, splurge a little bit or something like that. Um, but it's the moderation, right? Instead of man, I could go to town and throw down 30 wings, right? Or you know, how about 10 wings? Okay, we'll do 10 wings,
yep,
and usually if you eat the 10 wings, wait about 30 minutes, you're usually good. But instead of just sitting there chowing down, which I've done, I do it.
yeah. You're better off
Um,
just ordering less, right? Because it's like if you order 30, they're all gonna go.
well, and they're expensive now
Oh,
too.
I know.
Wings are shooting up in price, so
Man, 30 wings is like $60 nowadays. It's like $2 a wing. It's crazy. I remember, back home, I grew up in Buffalo. It was like the wing capital of the world, I think. And we used to get like 5-cent wing nights, and
holy
it's like
moly.
nowadays it's like $2 for a wing. You eat 30 wings, and that's a nice steak dinner.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, but
Um,
but yeah, so I do think diet is a big part of it, and again, not overindulging and going too
Yeah.
crazy. And you bring up a good point too. Everybody likes a cold beer here and there once in a while, and if you do that all the time too, just it dehydrates the body, and when you're training, you need that hydration. So just do everything in moderation. I think with diet in general, I think that's a big part of it, and I've always preached that. To be honest, I preach it with my wife. It drives her crazy, I know, and just do everything in moderation. And but I do see it in the diet culture, with these fad diets. I've
Yeah.
got I'm over 50, so I've seen probably every diet out there over the years, and I've seen people use them. And like I said, they work good, but then they fall off that diet, and it goes right back to where they started. And see it all the time.
Yeah, it's got to be your lifestyle.
Yeah, it does.
And
It does.
the another tip I wanted to bring up today is to maximize your martial arts training is to have a long-term mindset. Um, that was one, especially what taught me that was I grew up as a kid in Taekwondo, and um, now I 1,000% believe in a lot of short-term goals for kids, um, and actually adults too. We need it as well. We need to see little successes. We need to see little rewards. And so I know Taekwondo belts move a little quicker. Um, and then jujitsu moves a little bit slower, and that's a different topic for a different day. But they both serve different purposes. And jujitsu. I just had a chat with my so I don't let my white belt jujitsu students roll until they reached about 2 stripes. Now, if someone is training 2 days a week, to be honest, the first 2 stripes might go a little quicker, and then slow them down at 3, 4, and getting ready for their blue belt. It's a 2 or 3 year process to the blue belt, right? But it's about 6 months to get to those first 2 stripes, and it's just basic knowledge of technique. I don't let them roll in those first 2 months, and I had some people frustrated with that. And as I look, I had a great conversation with them last night. You know, 6 months in your jujitsu journey is a blip, right? I'm on my 18th year in Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Um, 6 months is nothing, and I'm looking forward to the next 18. Um, and I did everything wrong in my beginning of my jiu-jitsu career. We tried to kill each other day in and day out, and not tapping early enough, and um, just just brutal, and I feel fortunate that I made it through that first year or two training like that. Being 17 or 18 years old probably helped. But um, man, just having that, I don't want people to go through that. I don't want people to get injured. If you get injured, you quit, especially in that first few months. And so I just explained to them, like, look, I'm just helping you lay a foundation. They do positional sparring. They still get that's the thing too. They still left like exhausted and sweating, and from positional sparring, just not full rolling. I was like, "Look, you got an amazing workout. Did you learn something? You learned. You're safe. You can train tomorrow. Just trust me and do this for 6 months, and then we'll start rolling." Um, and the whole chat was just about the mindset of have that long-term mindset. I know you want to roll today. Just give me a few months of making sure you're doing everything safely to keep you safe and your partner safe, and then you're going to lay down a foundation that's going to help you do jiu-jitsu forever. And it was a really good chat. Everybody, got on board with that. Um, and just don't want them to make the same mistakes. But that just having that long term mindset is super super helpful.
I 100% agree with what you just said on so many levels. And me and you have actually never talked about this. I don't believe, just never come up, but I had kind of the similar situation. The first time I ever tried jujitsu, we had no idea what we were doing at all. And I was training with some really good martial artists in the Atlanta area, and we were doing jujitsu, or what we thought was jujitsu, and just beating the crap out of each other. And I was, at the time, I was about 4 weeks out of world championships competition that I'd worked hard to place for all year. And we were rolling around, and I was with a guy at the time was probably 60 pounds lighter than me.
Yeah,
And I went to do it was like a simple like bridge and rolling maneuver, but he was anchored in, so
Yep.
I couldn't possibly go anywhere, you know. And I was like, well, he's a lot smaller, so I'm just gonna muscle through it. And I tore my costal cartilage from my sternum bone and broke 3 ribs 4 weeks out
Ooh.
of world championships. And
Oh,
that was
geez.
a really good lesson learned. I ended up in
Mm,
the hospital that night, overnight, and it was brutal. And I just remember that, if had I not done something stupid like that, I would have been actually further along with my jujitsu, because we really didn't go back to it after that
yep.
because we all got in trouble with our head instructor
I'm sure.
because I was one of the lead instructors at that time, and now I was out injured and hurt, and was it hurt me for worlds too, getting ready for that.
Yep.
But yeah, so just looking back, and I 100% agree with. I really don't think they have any business rolling that soon.
Yeah.
No stripes, one stripes, because they have no idea what the hell they're doing. They're going
Right.
to injure someone else. They're going to injure themselves. And, a lot of times it could even happen to the instructors, if we're the one that throws ourselves into that bucket and, you're with, put yourself against a lot bigger guy that's like a wrestler, a lot younger, and you just get put in a funny position, overpowered, and you could get injured too because they don't have any sense of self discipline or self control in most cases, and it's because they're not educated yet. So it's our job to set those standards, I think, and make sure those things don't happen because you get a guy in there that is whether he's a good athlete or not, that gets injured in the first 2 months. Now you just lost a student that could have been really good down the road. Now they lose out on all those benefits of what jiu-jitsu or any martial arts had to offer.
Yeah. 100%. So I just put the brakes on. You know, um, chill out. Everything's gonna be great. Your longevity and health is most important. Um, I think of Elio Gracie doing jujitsu on the mat in his 90s. That's goals right there.
Yep.
Those are, and but you're not going to get there, not taking care of your body and stuff like that. Um, and kind of shifting back to Taekwondo, I had a kid. We had to, just they had a busy semester. It happens, life happens. They weren't as consistent like we had talked about earlier as they had wanted to, and they were right at the edge. Like they barely knew their stuff. They barely had enough classes. They'd been with us for a while, and I just decided I was like, look, you can skate by right here, barely, or we can just wait. At the next test is in 3 months. I was like, you've already been training for 4 years, right? What's what's 3 months? It's a blip. It's nothing, you know. And you're gonna feel so much more confident. You're gonna feel so much better. Their schedule was cooling off, so they had more time. Um, and again, just teaching them that long-term mindset. Like, yeah, we could just barely get through the test, and you're gonna do okay, but not great. Wait 3 months, you're gonna nail it, right? So you can probably hear that.
Is
Did you
that
hear him
Ego?
barking now?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
hear it a little bit.
I'll mute him and let you chat for a minute.
Mine just stopped. We had a FedEx and UPS trucks and Amazon or whatever was out there, and he goes ballistic when the trucks come. So it's so
Yeah,
many.
that's gotta be.
Yeah, it's nonstop. I usually try to bring him into the room here with me, and he'll just sit under the desk, and I think the talking of the voice and the YouTube stream actually soothes him. But when he's out there in the hallway, and because my wife was working in the office today, so he's sitting like a wounded puppy at the foot of the steps waiting for her to come home. He'll be there for like 6 7 hours, just waiting. So it's pitiful. But so the yeah, I think you're so much better, like you said, to wait just a little bit, get things back on track, and feel better about what you're doing, as far as getting ready for testings and different things. But don't rush it. Martial arts is a lifestyle, and it's a long-term thing. And I think for another tip, if you're what I try to tell the students, my magic number is always 10. So when you're drilling, if you're doing repetitions, just do 10, but do it every day. So just taking a simple kick, front kick, one of the first kicks that most students learn. If you want to get good at that kick, just do 10 per day every day. Over the course of a month, it's 300 kicks. It's a it's better to do 10 a day than go and you do 100 in that one day and then you don't do any kicks for the rest of the month because if you're lucky, maybe 5 to 10 of those kicks will look pretty good, and the other 90 to 95 are gonna be a pile of garbage because your muscles are tired and the technique is not there, and what happens is your muscles memorize that movement. You get that muscle memory, and if you've done like 5, 6, even 10 good techniques, and then the last 90 are horrible, that's what your muscles are memorizing. So I've always been a firm believer of doing tens of everything consistently. And then there's some times where you're going to amp it up and work the endurance, and then you can do more and go crazy. But just that method makes such a difference.
So I don't think I've ever told you this either. It's funny you say that because I have the same thing. And it it started with I wanted so bad to be able to walk on my hands. And I don't know why. This is back again. I was in my teenage years, but um, and I adopted the same thing. I was like, you know what? I'm going to give 10 solid attempts a day until I can do it. It took, it only took maybe 3 minutes to try 10 times, right?
Mhm.
And it was about. I had a goal. There was this thing, uh, probably about 20 feet. Um, I wanted to be able to walk across it on my hands and on the mat. And so I think it was 2 months. After 2 months of doing it 10 times a day, I made it across on my hands. And that was when I was probably about 18, 19. And I can still walk on my hands today, um, probably 30, 40, 50 feet at a time.
Oh,
And
that's awesome.
that was just from, honest, I do it like once every 2 months now. Like I just have the coordination for it now, and but that just came from doing it 10 times a day, and for 2 or 3 months when I was younger, and just kind of keeping up with it a little bit. But it's funny you said that because that was the first thing that popped into my head. Because I tell people there's some advanced kicks that like a 540 kick, and I got some teenagers right now really that I love the 540 kick. It was my go-to like demonstration kick. I was never flexible, but I could do a 540 kick well over my head because I could angle my body. I was actually only kicking waist level, but I angled my body so the board was up above my head. Um, and so I got some kids that are really working to get that kick right now, and I just told them the same advice. I was like, "Do 10 a day, and I bet you in 3 or 4 months you'll be crushing this kick." And they're doing it. They're doing a good job right now. Seeing
Yes,
good
and
improvement.
that's a good point too, because I try to tell them with those kicks, especially because it's so much more torque on the body and everything. And the landing, the landing is rough on the joints too. So 10 is the perfect number because if your body starts getting tired, that's when injuries happen. If you're going a little bit too crazy. And I seen it. My son got injured years ago. They were working on, I don't remember, it was like butterfly 540s or whatever it was. And he was overtired and he tried to get one more in, and that one more, hurt his ankle, and it always seems to happen. So just pick a number, 10 a day, 10 a day. That's always been my go-to number. And because those kicks like that, you're spinning in circles and you're landing with a lot of force. And not only you landing, that you're also twisting and rotating. And, actually, when I tore my ACL, MCL, I think I was working, I think me and you were sparring actually at a testing when that happened. And that was coming off of like a butterfly kick. I landed funny coming down, and I think you were coming in at the same time. And it's just that weird motion, and things can happen, especially when the body's a little bit more tired or when you're just old, one of the two. So,
I still feel bad about that day. I remember it like it was yesterday.
yeah. Well, you had something to do with it, but it
I
wasn't
did
like you
have a
did
little
it.
bit to
It's not like you
do.
came up and kicked my leg out from underneath me. It was totally the testing. Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah,
So
that was bad.
God, going back to that day, I didn't even know what an ACL tear was back then, and I was
Mm.
like, I just thought I tweaked it a little bit, and yeah, I can make it through. And I tried to make it through, and I was like, my leg just wouldn't do anything. I was so like frustrated. I was like,
Yeah,
so weird. And then
yeah.
that honestly is like for me personally, out of all the different surgeries and things I've had with injuries, that has been the one injury that doesn't heal as well. Like the hips were nothing compared to the knees. I guess because we just use them all the time. Any other tips? Those are most
Saying
of the basic ones. Yeah, I think like training in moderation too. Everything in moderation. So train, and that's again why I like that 10 method, 10 10 10.
Let's maybe save that because I know we're already at time, and because you're just gonna get me going on. I just had like 10 stories pop into my head about training in moderation, so that actually might be a good topic for the next one.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, because I got some good stories about that one too. Um, so I'll save that one for the next one. But no, I hopefully you guys got some good tips just from our experience today. So what we kind of what wrapping up here? What was it? Long-term mindset, right?
Hmm.
Um, make
Be
sure to
consistent.
be consistent with your training. Carve out that time in your schedule. And I think diet and moderation with everything. I think those are the kind of summing everything up. And so hopefully that helps. And you can take that. We're talking about martial arts today. You can apply that to just about anything. So and that's just been our experience. We had an Achilles tear there, Ryan's block. Yeah, that was
I've never
he
dealt with one
was
of those. I haven't heard good things about them though.
I got fortunate. 3 times I had my ankle popped from a scissor takedown.
Mm,
Um, and that's why they ban it a lot in jiu-jitsu tournaments because it's so dangerous on the ankles. And I got really, really fortunate. Um, and how do you guys feel about fried foods? I love fried food.
it's a love hate.
I absolutely love fried food. Um, yeah, we were talking about wings earlier,
Yeah.
and um, so yeah, just moderation. So
I
we
would
live
say
down here in
I
the South.
definitely, yeah, I definitely don't eat a ton of fried foods, but there are some that I really like. So it's definitely a love hate relationship there.
You go to the fairs around here, and you got fried Oreos. I am not kidding. They had fried butter.
Fried butter. What?
I I am not even. I'm not kidding you. I can't make this up.
What do they
Our
do? Dip
local.
it in just a fryer, and they just like a
It's
wing,
like a
but
it's
butter.
like a it's like a frozen little piece of butter. They batter it up, fry it, and then they sort of these little butter things, fried butter. I cannot make it up.
That's crazy. I've
It,
never heard of that. I don't know that I would even eat something like that.
uh, yeah, I didn't eat it. I did eat the fried Oreo. But the the fried butter, I was like, no, that's too far for me. um, Good tag and street fight to go for the ankles.
Mm, maybe the
Uh,
knees.
Maybe not being a street fight.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have to defend yourself, I tell the kids all the time. I've been doing martial arts now for 30 years, and how many fights do you think I've been in? The answer is zero, except for my competitions, right? So, um, I've really tried to avoid those. I've had opportunities. Um, I decided to get the heck out of there instead. But ankles and knees. That's the whole like strategy behind like Russian Sambo,
Yeah.
which is actually my first grappling art that I ever did was Russian Sambo, and the whole idea was to attack the ankles and knees, and then for in combat, and then that would draw out to people, so they would be maimed, right, and then their the troops would have to come out to carry them back, and that's exactly what they wanted. They wanted to draw out the people, so that was an interesting, really interesting, brutal tactic. Um, but yeah, probably the knees,
Yeah,
honestly.
I
So
usually typically would go, and I teach to go more to the knees, or actually just right above the knee, like the common peroneal, dead in the leg. Always works well. And then there's not from my side, the humanitarian side, not taking someone's knee out, where they're damaged pretty bad, but taking the common peroneal, a dead in the leg, pretty good, and that should stop them.
your average citizen, if I mean, we train leg kicks for years and years and years, so I could take a pretty strong leg kick. But you're just average citizen that's never taken a leg kick before. One kick, and that's probably about the
Yeah,
max they can take.
yeah,
With
for sure.
if it's done right. So, um, yeah, you see those YouTube videos of like UFC fighters. Uh, like they're holding like a pad on their leg or but like just like a normal guy, not a UFC fighter, and then I mean through the pad, the
Yeah.
guys can barely walk afterwards,
Well, it's
and imagine that.
amazing. Yeah, it's amazing how strong kicks are. Just I remember just holding targets for each other when we were getting ready for big competitions and really going more like full bore. Your ribs, we would actually double up the pads for that. Just
Yep,
get two pads and put them together just to cushion the blow. Because man, I've gotten bruised ribs from just kicking with targets before.
yep, yep, absolutely.
So awesome. All right. Well, I know we've got our busy academies to get to today, and we've got I know a couple Hyde Park things to go over today. Getting ready for some stuff we got going on tonight. So I think we're going to finish up there, and we will be back next Tuesday with another topic and have a little bit of fun with that. So if you guys want to hear about specific topics related to martial arts or training in general, self defense, definitely hit us up in the chat. Let us know and we'll look forward to bringing that to you guys. So we'd love to make it interactive and engaging. So if there's anything that you guys want to hear about from our perspective, like I said, we do this day in and day out for our whole lives, and we just love to talk martial arts and share our experiences. And who knows, maybe there's some stuff we can learn too from someone in one of the chats that does martial arts as well that might be different from our training. So, but we always look
Absolutely.
forward to that. So. All right, well, we'll wrap it up there. And KO, I'll see you in a few minutes here, and we'll get ready to rock and roll for all the cool stuff and things that we're working on tonight.
All right, guys. Later, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.
All right, have a good one.